Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you are all safe and well. Thanks for joining me, and today I wanted to look at some cathedrals. Now, I've come across a guy called Alexander Nevski. He was actually around in Russia in the 1200s, but so far I've found 3 different cathedrals dedicated to his name. And they are very interesting cathedrals. So today I thought we'd have a look at them. And this is one on the screen in front of us. This one is in Sofia in Bulgaria. You can see the windows going into the ground. They've been squared off, but they are underneath these windows on top, and there's steps going up, so something to notice. But just look at this work. Now I'm going to have to put my spectacles on. And look at these domes. This is just amazing. They're everywhere, and they just all got these arches just the whole way around them. And if you look at these arches, they're stepped out. They're like the doorways you see. They sort of step out like there's some kind of amplifier. Massive dome up here. This is a half dome. I haven't got a back angle of this. It looks like it's more like a 3/4 dome that just kind of ends up in this wall in here. Got another half dome here. Sort of a 1/4 one. I mean, it's just, there's another one here. There's spires on top of all these things, and it's just a pretty amazing building. This is what it looks like inside, and this is a chandelier. As you can see, it looks very much like a cymatic image. We've got a 6-pointed star with 2 circles inside. We've got these radiating lines, another circle, then another 6-pointed star on the outside of that, and another circle. So, yeah, I'm not sure, if that's encoding for, 6s. Obviously, that's there. But just look, because most of these buildings we know they've been repurposed. New facades put on them. This is a Russian Orthodox church, which seems to be, as far as religions go, seems to be the sort of least edited religion. Is that what we say? The one that's been, that has been changed the least, the most sort of pure kind of Christianity, as far as I can tell. So I don't know how old all this facade is, because you can see it's all religious. Jesus is here. But just look at this architecture and how it's built. I mean, every surface is covered, but can you see even up here there's like a little sort of, that's like a dome. This is all inset, this whole wall, and then it comes out to like a half dome at the top. I've got windows up here. I mean, it's just, the work that would have had to go into this is just amazing. There's another shot straight up. I'm not sure where this is, but I would say this is under the main dome. This is the entranceway. As you can see, we have a nice checkerboard here. We've got, some shops, some gift shops, which is nice because, what did Jesus do when he found people making money in the temple? He overthrew the tables of the money changers, didn't he? So this is a bit weird. But look at this door. Okay, you can see this is clearly like a little shop thing they've put in there, and you can see the size. So if people were standing in there, they'd be up here somewhere. About the same height as this door handle. Look at this door. Ridiculous. And again, just columns, arches, everything we're used to. Another shot. I mean, just look at how, just to design this thing would have been a humongous effort. Just the way that it all sort of, just sort of melds into each other, like this bit here, this sort of half dome sort of tower bit, it's just kind of blends into this wall, and all the domes join up, and, even just little bits like the top of these windows here See how the whole roof is actually shaped like that. I mean, the work just to get that little bit done like that. So this has to be for more than just decoration, because there's decoration and making buildings nice, but to go to this amount of effort, there's something else going on, which we all know. And just amazing. There's the domes again, and you can just see, like, look at all, it's just so intricate. Even just to there's every little part of it. It's just amazing, and it's obviously sitting very low in the ground. But look at the size, look at the effort and the materials. All this copper, getting it up there. And like I said, just building and designing something that just all kind of, it's like a central dome with just all these bits just flowing out from it. It's just incredible, really, isn't it? We've got a rounded walls here, flat walls here, arches. And they say this was built in the 1800s, 1870s, I believe. That was just the bells, obviously, so I clicked by that a bit quick. These are nice old world bells by the looks of it. You can see all the nice design and artwork all over them. Another shot of the inside, and here we have like a dome, this is one of these half domes. Another sort of, this is just really a curved roof here. And just the inset walls and everything, it's like, they haven't doubled the amount of work they needed to do. They've like 10 times it. And then, of course, the massive size of this, and they're trying to tell us it was all built, by horse and buggy, before machinery. And look at that floor, how it radiates out. Now, this is something I've mentioned before. This will be underneath the main dome. We always get these floors with these designs on them. And look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that was 6-sided, wasn't it? Or maybe that's a different one. See, that might be mimicking. It's just got this circle in the middle, I'm not sure. And this radiating thing is, I saw a video, and he was talking that it looks like a circuit board. If these are all different stones of different resistance and things, is this some kind of circuit board? Sound goes up into the dome, gets projected down to this center, and then radiated out somehow. And all this is just a big sound, energy converter thing. And we had, look just on the inside, look at these things. I mean, what we're told now, they just, that's where, like a throne. Someone who thinks they're above everyone else goes and sits on it. But what is it really? I mean, it's very reminiscent of the, like the grandstands that they call them in the parks. And look, here's another dome inside and it's the same. It's got all these arched windows all the way around it. So just amazing stuff, but definitely, not built to just sort of congregate in and talk about God, in my opinion. I think it was much more about actually interacting with God, because, what is God, I guess? As far as I'm concerned, God is just an intelligence and energy, the energy that binds and animates all life. And we are God. God lives within the temple. These are our temples. It even says in the Bible, Jesus says, "Do you not know the kingdom of God is within you?" So places like this are to get more in touch with who we really are. Not God. God isn't outside. God's inside. And we are all aspects of that. So I think that's what these were for, to give us higher, so we can reach higher, realms of consciousness. And obviously with everything, they flip it around and they say, well, yeah, no, it's still about God, but God's outside you now. You can't reach it. You've just got to ask for help. You can't go within and get the answers from yourself. That's what they want us to believe. And just amazing, I mean, this place I'm just clicking through, it's just every picture, like it's just ridiculous. I'll leave the links, of course, so you can go through these yourself. And the amount of gold, even just all these, decorations and things. And you see this is very, Russian Orthodoxy, the amount of, artwork and flamboyance, is that the right word, that they do? They really use a lot of stuff, a lot of wood, a lot of gold, a lot of blues, and lots of painting. Nice picture of a starburst up here. And of course, giant size, guys. This thing is massive. And as you can see, there's no floors inside. It's just huge. It's just one, if you're going to build this for a lot of people, it's kind of a waste of space. But obviously for whatever it was built for, it needed to be done this way. Just look at this wall here, how it angles out, flat, angles out again, comes up and turns into this dome that starts at 4 different angles. I mean, we can't do this stuff today. You all know that. Here's another shot of that, middle dome and this half dome coming off it with all the windows. What's going on there? I haven't really seen that before. Now, this is just one of them, remember. Now, what did I have up here? This is another one. This is the one in Paris. Named after the same man, Alexander Nevski. As you can see, it's the same kind of thing. Look at all this art. This is very Russian Orthodox. You see this a lot. Big wood paneling with these inlays. And it's very, very reminiscent of what we see on the outside of buildings, but this is just made of wood. So I'm not really sure what the significance of it is. This is the outside. See if we can get a good shot of it for you. And as you can see, again, very, very intricate. I've got these windows coming out of the dome. Look at the top up here. And here, this is the one in Paris still. Bit of a better shot. And look at this, looking very, what we would think of as Russian, with these onions on the top. And look at this big, antiquitechy antenna thing. And this looks like it's got things hanging down from the crosses, from that horizontal bit. See those? This all covered in gold. I mean, just look at this, how it comes up, flattens out, then gets bigger, and it's got this hexagonal pillar on top. The amount of work that would go into these. This bit here has clearly been refaced. You can see these aren't original bricks. That looks like the whole thing is probably built out of a different material. That may be built out of this stone. It might have just been repointed, but it just looks like it's been laid over the top of something. I mean, just look at this work, just the intricacy, just to build just this little bit here. And see this here, mirroring these exactly. You see this shape a lot. Is that, I don't know, what is that? Splitting of energy, positive, negative? Don't know. Obviously, we've got all the Russian Orthodoxy Christian symbols everywhere now. Lots of gold. Got a couple of clocks here. And yeah, so this one is in Paris. And here's another shot, and you can see this shape again is just being mirrored across here, across the front of it, and this. So what is this part? It's obviously shapes have a lot to do with what these are, geometry, what these buildings were built for. But I mean, just look at that symmetry. So we've got this at the bottom. It's mirrored. This is obviously on an angle, but mirrored straight above by this. And then this is flanked on each side by these, which have got the same symbol in again. Then we've got these 3 windows that line up here, and of course they've all got their onions and their antiquitech antennas, as does this. And down this bottom bit looking very castle-like, isn't it? This is the interior shot again, so very similar to the other one with, central domes, these half domes coming off around the outside, arches everywhere, just the whole classic, story, the whole thing that we see everywhere. And this is the third Alexander Nevski Cathedral, and this one is in Tallinn in Estonia. And again, very similar. We've got the onions on the top, got 3 domes here. This is very similar to the Paris one. But even, the Bulgaria one as well was similar, it just all sort of melded together. But just, look at the intricacy of this again, and it's, got these windows down below, steps going up. Just the same kind of level of detail, but this, obviously different shapes. But again, here you can see this shape. This is, we see this a lot in India and in Islamic sort of architecture, what we're told is Islamic architecture, sort of Moorish kind of stuff. And you can see, looks like it's reflected up here in the top of this. Like this is only the top, this isn't a full one. It's kind of the shape they use for when they draw lotus flowers and things, isn't it, as the petals. So that's mirrored there, and then we have the 3 domes. It looks like we've got 4 domes maybe, and one in the middle. We've got look at this, all these half domes, and then layered on top, windows. Just so much work that's gone into this. These drain pipes are interesting. Now, they don't look original, do they? So how was this, draining water originally? Are they drain pipes? Another shot from the front, nice colourful, this one. I'm not sure what this blue, it looks like they're doing a bit of repair work on it or something. But again, you can see it's not a massive building. These are the people, so it's very giant size. But as far as, it's not a huge building, but just the amount of work to go into that. Obviously sunk in the ground. Nice big tower in the background here as well. And, some nice old world buildings here too that no doubt are sunk. And a bit of a look at the inside. I couldn't find really too many good pictures looking up. But this is sort of one of the better ones where you can just see all the arches. This is the main dome on top. There's obviously 4 other domes around. But you can just see the arches here and how they go back. This is obviously one of those other domes, I would think. It's at least a half dome there. But look at the size of this place. Just completely covered in artwork. Perfect symmetry. Archways everywhere. Domes. Just completely ridiculous as a worship place, really. This is one of the pieces in there. They have a lot of this kind of artwork in the Russian Orthodox, as I've mentioned, but I found this interesting because we find this shape again, which was on the outside. It's been mirrored again on the inside, and here again as well. These are like the onion sort of shapes. It's just a bit more splayed out. And we get to doubles up here. And if you have a look at this, see the point of this, the top? If we go up, that hits this bit here, this middle bit. Okay, and then we have these 2 bits. And these here on top. So this, it goes up and hits the middle. So it's from the middle of this through, through separating these 2 and then separating these 2. Just perfect symmetry all along, and then these onions on top. So, what does this mean? And even these windows, we saw this mirrored on that first one. Windows in the domes. So, still trying to work out what this all means. So here's another shot of the work, and this is that panel there. So you can see it's actually, looks like it's under the main dome. It's in front of this. So why is that there with all these different shapes? Bits popping up out the top. Bit more going on here, I think, than we're actually led to believe, As we're all starting to realise, these were places of healing, not places so much of worship. Well, of worship, but I guess of worshipping, ourselves and our inner being in a connection to the everything rather than, reversing it all and sort of worshipping something outside of us that we have to sort of ask for permission to do things, ask, can we do this, can we have this, when really we can create it all if we go inside. Now I also did find, this is a fourth one, this says it's in Tbilisi in Georgia. Well, it says it was, because it says it was demolished in 1930, so built in the 1800s, demolished in 1930. Looking very similar to the one in Bulgaria, with the domes kind of merging in, but obviously it's a different building. Again, it's a mud flutter. And this one has these bars, the different kind of bricks that we see that looks like some kind of, I don't know, resistor or something, of these different bands that resist energy or that change. Yeah, you see it a lot. But, just the same kind of architecture. And this one, unfortunately, gone. And this is the same story. We all know the story. They're all built in the late 1800s, and most of them are knocked over within 40 or 50 years. And this architecture, the amount of work, effort and materials that goes into building these, it would be ridiculous to knock them over. So there's obviously another agenda going on. So who was Alexander Nevski? Why have we got all these cathedrals built? This is Alexander Nevski. The holy and right-believing Alexander Nevski was the Grand Prince of Vladimir and Novgorod during the period of the 13th century when the Russian lands were under assault from both the east and west. His military victories in the west and diplomacy in the east kept northern Russia free of foreign domination. The Church of Russia recognized him as a saint in 1547. Then this goes a bit about commemorated as a saint, blah, blah, blah. Down here it says, so he was born into royalty. He was the fourth son of the Grand Prince, and so no one really thought that he would ever take power. And if we come down here, it says, in the spring of 1241, Novgorod leaders again called upon Alexander to defend them from the invading and crusading Teutonic Knights. Again, he and his army stopped the invasion, this time in the famous Battle of the Ice during the Battle of Lake Peipus. In 1242, he defeated them by defeating first the Swedes, then the German Teutonic Knights. Alexander stopped their eastward expansion for several centuries. So basically, he was defending Russia. Under legacy, it says, in an age of great turmoil, Alexander Nevski was a man who defended his lands and people with great courage, and whose action, while questioned by some, successfully maintained the territorial integrity of his lands for his peoples. As a consequence of his humble submissions to the Tatar Khan, so this is all Tartary, guys, Alexander was able to preserve the principality of Novgorod and other Russian lands from ruin. It is for this humble concern for his people that he was recognized as a saint. So recognized 300 years or so after his death, then they waited another 300 years to build these cathedrals, 350 years or so. And then they built 4 cathedrals that I know of so far. They knocked one over. We've still got the other 3, and they're just amazing architecture, and they all look to be mud flooded. So, and again, I've had a look. I couldn't find anything at all on the building of any of these 3 cathedrals. I just found that in one of them it said that the cornerstone was laid. This is Patriarchal Cathedral, St. Alexander Nevski. This is the one in Bulgaria. And it says 1882, the cornerstone of the St. Alexander Nevski Cathedral was laid February 19, 1882. That's all I've really found. It also says that they put some engravings, metal plates in the foundations. But yeah, nothing about construction at all. Nothing about how they constructed it, who designed it, why it was really built, where all the materials came from. Nothing. 1882, horse and cart, no machinery, no cranes or anything. I mean, how did they do this? The story's silly. And they're all clearly mud flooded, so they're clearly from a different time. They're much older than we're told. Why are they hiding all this? Well, because they don't want us to know our true history, and as we can see with events going on at the moment as March 2020, they're now trying to take this, a lot further, because we are being ruled by the wrong side. Evil has taken over, and we need to get the truth out to people, guys, because people are starting to wake up pretty quick that this is not how things are supposed to be. So there you go, just a bit of a look at Alexander Nevski and his cathedrals, and just, some amazing architecture, and quite obviously designed and built for something completely different than what the story tells us. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Stay safe, stay strong, and I will talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.